So yeah, I'm just going to begin just by asking if you could tell us a little bit about your character and how she fits into the world of Safe.
Sure. So she's kind of an outsider, actually. She is arrived from a city and has come into this sort of smaller suburban police force. And she sort of thinks that she's seen it all and she's a bit eye-rolly, like, oh, first job's at a school, you know. But then things start to quite quickly escalate and, yeah, it develops into a substantial case that she's on and she's loving it.
And it gets quite dark as well, doesn't it?
Yes. Yeah. Which there's a lovely balance in this show between, for a lot of the female characters, between personal and professional lives. And I think for both the detectives, Sophie and Emma, those lines start to blur and the emotional side starts to sort of creep into the professional life.
So do you find when you play a detective, I mean, the detective role is so kind of ingrained in the kind of fabric of cinema and kind of entertainment, that when you're kind of preparing for the role, do you find that you're almost using other detectives from other TV series or films as a means of kind of research as opposed to actual real life detectives? Or did you actually go and sort of do the whole research thing and meet lots of detectives and stuff like that? Or can you sort of gather enough from just watching films and TV across your life?
I am a huge crime thriller fan. So all dramas, but then also like real life sort of documentary stuff. There's loads of that all over the place at the moment, and I absolutely love it. So I watched loads and loads of that, pretty much everything. Got a bit obsessed with it. And then we had this incredible ex-detective who was our police advisor on set called Lisa, and she was full of incredible stories and would talk to us and advise on literal things like handling props and how and the rankings and how, you know, when you're accessing a crime scene, someone would open a door and all of that sort of stuff. But then we'd also like sort of sit and have a cup of tea, and she'd just tell me about stuff that she'd done as a detective. And also being a woman in the force and having quite a high-ranking job, how that was and is. So yeah, it's a bit of a mixture of both, of kind of documentaries, Lisa, and a little bit of like well-known other detectives, fictional.
And when you hear, because obviously, I mean, I'm assuming you would have been told this right from the word go, is that it's a Netflix original series. I mean, at the moment, that's kind of like a seal of approval. That's basically a sign that this is probably going to be quite good, because they don't tend to do bad stuff. So that must be so encouraging for any actor now when you get told about a project and they say this one's on Netflix.
Yeah.
Quite encouraging.
It's definitely a draw. But I'd actually worked with Harlan and Nicola and Red before on another series called The Five, and that was more of a draw for me, to be honest, the kind of driving forces behind it. I love them all and they're brilliant and make great work. So yeah, it was great that it's got that kind of Netflix label on it too, but the creatives behind it were really the real drawing point for me.
Because it must be such an exciting time for actors at the moment, knowing that you're making stuff that everyone's kind of watching. Not that people weren't before, but there would have been a time where, say, your TV series is on 8 p.m. on a Sunday night. Yep. People are either in or they're not. But now, I mean, I can recommend a TV series to sort of my parents, and they'll just watch it. Whereas there used to be a time when people wouldn't. So it must be so great knowing that everyone's kind of watching stuff these days.
It's also really great to know that we spent 6 months making 8 hours of stuff, of drama, and if you want, you could sit at home for 8 hours and watch all of it in one go, like a big, massive movie. So it's, you know, it's total freedom for the viewer, and it's so exciting for the people making it, because you know exactly people are going to watch it. They're going to watch it in any way that they want, any way that suits them. They can watch it again. They can pause it. You know, it's great. I think it's and also that there's been an explosion of network and platform for loads of stuff being made, loads of chances being given to new writers and for new things to be made. I think it's a really exciting time for television, definitely.
And Safe is one of those series that it's kind of impossible to just watch one episode because they all kind of end on a cliffhanger. Did you have a similar experience reading the scripts? Were you given all of them right from the offset, or were you getting them as sort of week by week? Because I'm just wondering if you, at the end of every episode, were going, I have to find out what happens next.
Yeah, so when I first, before we had the first read through and the first meet of everyone, I only had 3 episodes. And at the read through, I was sat next to Michael and I thought, oh, he will have read everything. And I was like, come on, what happens? And he was like, I have no idea. I've only read the first 3 episodes. I was like, oh my God, no one knows. It's so exciting. And then we'd get sort of an email at the end of the week with the next 2 on, and then everyone would just sort of be on their phones like, I need to know. Because as much as it appears like that on screen, it's absolutely like that with the scripts too. We were desperate to know what was going to happen, and because I knew what was going on with my character, but everyone else, you're like, I don't know, what does that mean, and why do I feel that, it was so exciting.
And because you've worked with Harlan before, so I'm sure you've been in this situation before where you don't know who to trust, and you don't know what any character could be up to. That must be quite exciting for yourself as well, thinking, I don't actually know what my own character's capable of.
Well, that was I was like, right, I know how this goes. I'm going to nip this in the bud quickly. After the first read through, I sent him an email and I was like, listen, what is going on? I need to know. And he sent me back this absolute essay with, everything that I needed to know. So much detail, incredible secrets, everything. It was brilliant.
And it feels very British. I mean, obviously we've got Michael in the lead role, but I mean, it just feels, I guess do you think, what is it about this, do you think, that does lend itself so well to a British setting? Is it that kind of small community where everyone knows everyone? I feel that's quite a big part of the kind of story here, that especially when, when Michael's sort of at the start trying to sort of find answers, he just speaks to people and go, oh, go and ask her down the road. Everyone kind of knows each other, which I guess is maybe more of a small town thing that you might not get so much in huge, vast, open landscapes in America. Yeah,
or in a city situation, you could live in an apartment block with like 30 other families and not know who any of them are. That certainly is sort of how it is in my life. I'm terrible with my neighbours, and I feel like I should probably make a change in that. But it's very sort of cosy. There's the teacher and the surgeon and, the police officer. But then quite quickly you start to see how isolated people are within that, and especially with my character Emma, she isn't part of that community, and she's coming in and looking at everyone with a really sort of different eye, especially to Sophie, and she kind of makes that point quite a lot, like I'm not at the school gates, with all these people. Everyone's a suspect as far as I'm concerned, and I think that's a really interesting sort of angle on it, that she's seeing it from an outside perspective, as the viewer is as well.
She kind of represents us in some ways.
Yeah, definitely. But then she's also got her own game plan.
Good old Harlan.
Yeah.
And in regards to working with Michael, I mean, he is, when it comes to TV, I mean, we grew up on sort of 6 Feet Under, and then obviously Dexter as well. And I mean, he's one of the kind of TV stars of his generation. I mean, that must have been so great, sort of collaborating with him so closely on this project. Absolutely.
There's a bit of a like, oh God, okay, just do it. You kind of think, right, this is what's happening now. And I did have to sort of do that with myself, and especially with Amanda as well. I'm such a fan of Amanda's. I have to just be like, I can do this. These people are my peers. Just get on with it and try not to think about, because they're just normal people, really. They really are. Like, Michael and Amanda are just the sweetest, loveliest people. And just kind of do the work and try not to get too intimidated or, think about it too much.
Yeah, we spoke to Emmett about this, as you know, obviously got very deep, but it's when you are sort of collaborating and working with someone that you do admire, that you have admired, is it only really after you're able to go, God, that was quite cool, or are those feelings kind of swirling around in your mind in the moment?
I actually think I had a way more kind of personable time. Obviously knowing the work they've done before and loving it and everything, but really just taking it as it is on set. And Michael's such a generous actor, such a lovely man, that we had some quite big moments together, sort of big emotional scenes, and it was just a joy, and he made me feel so relaxed and so sort of supported that, yeah. I guess maybe afterwards I was like, oh my God, you know, I got an email from Harlan being like, Michael said that scene was great, like pinch yourself, and I was like, yeah, maybe I should, wow, you know, but it all feels so connected to the scene and to the characters that you kind of forget that, you know, you're doing a scene with Dexter.
And I already want a second season. I haven't even finished it yet. I mean, you say you want a second season. For all I know, there's a fight at the end and every single character dies. But I'm hoping that doesn't happen and there could be a second season. When for actors, is it quite nerve-wracking when you make a TV series you really like? Because you'll want to do more. I'm sure usually the producers, the writers, they all want to do more. You're just sort of sitting there waiting for someone to say, yep, go ahead, here's the green light. I mean, what's that been like even in the past when you've done TV series? That kind of feeling of knowing that you all want to do it. You just need to be told you're allowed.
I have my method of coping with this industry is to just sort of not really think about it too much. Like, if it goes again, obviously I will be overjoyed because this has been one of my favourite jobs ever. One of the most challenging and, you know, fun. But who knows? I think I'm not pinning any hopes on it, but it's like a little secret sort of room in my heart that's like, please, but very small, not listening to it very much because, yeah, you never know.
Peripheral coming up.
Oh yeah,
that's really exciting. That's
wow.
That's sort of
I love that you know about that.
I haven't seen it yet.
No one's seen it.
No, there we go. But I mean, that sounds really exciting. Sort of, well, not little, but I mean, kind of low budget sci-fi.
Yeah. Indie film.
One of my favourite types of sci-fi. I love what people do with it's kind of small and mean. What can you tell us about that project and how you fit into it?
So that is with the director that I worked with before, called Paul Hyatt, whose previous work, he did a movie called The Seasoning House, which was really well received.
Really scary.
Really scary, really harrowing. But I'd worked with him before and he came to me with this project and I loved the script. It was bonkers, like definitely the most challenging thing I've ever done. Like, I just went into this weird little cave for like 2 months to make that film. I didn't speak to anyone, I didn't contact anybody. I was up in Watford we had the set was built in an old school hall, my character's flat, and she doesn't leave the flat, basically. She's just consumed by the and I pretty much did the same. I had an apartment, I was just staying it was either in my apartment or on set, hardly talking to anybody, going a bit mad, because the character is kind of crazy too. But yeah, love Paul, and it was a real kind of a bit of a risky thing to do, because the character it was a kind of a really brave performance, and I felt really secure with him and I really trust him, so I'm looking forward to seeing it. Yeah.
It sounds like a great role. I mean, you must be so thrilled when you get roles like that and you just think, God, there's so much for me to do here. You know, that must be so, because I'm assuming that's not always the case. You know, roles like this don't come around every week. So when you do get one, it must be thrilling.
Yeah, I think both of these projects, Safe and Peripheral, have been incredible female characters that have loads of stuff going on. They're both quite lost, and they're trying to figure out a way to kind of make it through mad situations that isn't revolving around a boyfriend or a husband, which is really lovely because, you know, I think it's changing now, but yeah, for the first 5 years of my career, it was girlfriend parts. And I really think that there's less of that those sort of roles aren't really coming to me as often now, which I am very happy about.
I was going to say, I mean, do you think that the Safe and Peripheral coming that close together is a sort of coincidence, or is this a sign that things are actually genuinely sort of on the changing?
Really, you know, I have a really great, strong community of actors around me, actors and actresses, and we all are really pushing for this and have been for a while. And as far as I can tell from my own work and then, you know, all my friends' work, I really feel like there is a real change happening. And that's really great. It's a great time. I also feel like it's a great time to be sort of getting older as a woman in this industry, because I'm excited to play like lawyers and mothers and, you know, women with real stuff going on. And it feels like other people are also excited about telling that kind of story for real women. So that's great as well.
And so I was just wondering about when you did decide you wanted to be an actor. Because obviously it runs in the family. I mean, was it always something that you were really keen on doing right from being a child? And do you remember the moment when you thought, right, I'm actually now an actor? It's not just something I want to be when I grow up. I'm actually now doing it.
I do remember that moment actually, and feeling really excited to like meet someone, someone introduce me, be like, hi, I'm an actor.
Because I said that all the time, I don't mean it.
Yeah. Hi. I think I always wanted to perform. I've been in bands and singing and stuff since I was about 13. And then kind of did a musical at college, and that was kind of my first proper acting role, even though it was only at college. And then, it kind of went from there, really. I auditioned for drama school thinking, I'm just going to do this because I don't really want to get a job. I'm going to give it a go. And my dad was like, I'll come with you. So we went and did that, and then, got into RADA, which was just mental. Honestly, the most mental moment of my life was like, they've made a mistake. And then that was really the changing point, going to RADA and meeting incredible people and getting a great training. And that's where I really fell in love with it at drama school. And then I got my first job out of drama school, and that's when I was like, I'm an actress.
And that is one of the great things. I mean, it's because I grew up with my two parents who sort of would come home every day and just sigh and then just live for the weekend. And I just think that you get it. This is a job where no 2 days are the same. That is one of the joys of it, isn't it? I mean, even
Absolutely.
just what I do is I watch and speak to people who are doing it. So I also almost get to hang off your coattails in some regards.
No, but it's the same. You get to do a different thing every day. Yeah, my God. I honestly don't know how people do it. You know, that kind of the same thing every day. But then at the same time, this industry, doing this job can be so tough when you don't know what's going on. You're literally just just bobbing along with the tide, waiting for hopefully something will come along. And usually, it will, but that feeling of not being in control definitely takes some getting used to. And you have to be brave. You can't, if you're worried about, worrying about being in control and knowing what you're doing all the time, this isn't the job for you at all.
And so just my very final question is, because obviously we're primarily a movie site, although these days we're doing so much TV because TV is so bloody brilliant. But what's your favourite film of all time?
God, what a question.
Right.
Okay.
No pressure.
I feel like it's a really obvious choice, or maybe it isn't. And I've lost my copy of it on DVD, so if anyone has it and wants to give me one, please give it to me. It's Eternal Sunshine in the Spotless Mind, Michel Gondry.
I've got that on DVD. I should have brought it with me.
Yes,
Yeah.
I've lost mine. I think I lost it in a move. Like I moved house and I've lost it, and it used to be on Netflix and now it's not. And I really had a hankering to watch it the other day.
Well, if you're into Netflix, I'll go and have a word with them. Speak to Harlan, see if you can
send me a copy.
It's a good movie. Thank you so much for your time today. Much
appreciated. Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys.
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey You Guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.
Hey